These are all alleged opinions, and I'm gonna let the court of public opinion do its thing. Okay, so I briefly explained this the other day, but here is 41 Grocery and Grill, the highway that Mica would have been on if she went to Dick's Pawn Shop and was driving up to Lumber River, would have taken her in this general direction. She ends up getting off a highway here and drives over here to 41 Grocery and Grill. The thing that's interesting about this that I can't get over is that it's a long drive off the highway, and if the goal was to get gas and a drink, she has to get off a highway and literally pass the Sunoco the second she gets off the highway. My question has always been, why did she ever end up here, which will be a whole separate video. We're just going to talk about another way she could have gotten from this location up to Lumber River without ever being spotted. A couple things come into play here. Number one, the distance between these two locations by car is one thing, but the distance between these two locations by river is a whole nother ballgame. So I'm just gonna talk to you while you see this journey here. This is 41 Grocery and Grill. It goes straight to a highway, and 6 minutes away is a small inlet called Gallivan's Ferry. It's a boat inlet. So I mentioned this in the video the other day. You're gonna see this is Lumber River. It goes straight all the way to Lumber River. But what we didn't know at that time was that Tom Winslow, or friends with J.P. Miller, who also went to Solid Rock Church, owns 200 acres of land that sits directly next to the border of South Carolina and North Carolina. And the property that he owns here literally is outlined by Lumber River. Of course, it's not illegal to own property. He's welcome to own as much property as he wants, and this is all alleged. We don't know necessarily what happened on that property, if the property plays a role, but the fact that that property is sitting on the river where Mica was found is obviously a red flag. When we start to think about that, the property is outlined by, it looks like a snake, this river here, continues onward into another town, and then it lands itself into Lumber River State Park, where Mica's body was found. The thing that we need to pay attention to is the fact that Mica's family talked all about the crime scene here. Then we also had investigators go out, News Nation went out with the fishermen, and on top of that, Kyler Marlowe and the investigative team that she's working with, NDB, have gone there in person, found the location, saw that it's about a 15 to 20 minute walk from the car, which is not super overwhelming. However, if the goal on the phone, the 911 call, was to be found, the part that we all seem to get stuck on and find curious is that she waded through waist deep water to get to this restricted area in order to herself in a slough of water that is completely off the path that you would ever take to venture into the woods here. So she was in a restricted area. She was found in the water. She was found over 130 feet away from the gun and the shell casings, and made a phone call to ping her location that she wanted to be found. I have a problem with that information. I superimposed the picture of Tom Winslow's property on top of actual Google Earth. So you could see the outline of his property sits on the border of South Carolina, and his backyard is Lumber River. And what's really interesting to me is that there's easy access points here straight into the river that are off of dirt paths. So now we have the last point of being seen, which was 41 Grocery and Grill. We have a 6 minute away entry point into the river, Gallivan Ferry. Then we have a stopping point along the way, which is Tom's property. Not saying these things happened, but I think it's quite interesting that we're still driving straight up the river and hit another spot here. And then the police report said that Mica was found in this one specific spot. And when the family was brought out there to look at it, when Kyler and DB went out there to look at it, when other investigators from News Nation went out there to look at it, what's so concerning is that she was found in a restricted area away from where everyone else would be. But you know who wouldn't really know that? Someone who was on a boat. Someone who was on a boat wouldn't know that the pathway from the car into the water was in a restricted area. Someone who walked through would. So Mica would have known that she was walking through a restricted area. There would have been signs up. She would have seen things that said restricted area, and she would have stayed on the path. But someone who didn't know that that was a restricted area would have been someone who took another method into the park besides the pathway. Like, for instance, the water. So, you know, the thing that has bothered me since the beginning is that the grocery and grill, she would have had to get back on the highway either this way or go straight up this way. If she went by boat, either willingly, which I doubt, or unwillingly, there's a piece of information that never made sense as well that I think is connected to this. Remember the phone call that Mica made to 911 and said, the dispatcher asked her, what town are you in? I don't think you're in Robeson County. And she says, Fair Bluff? I want to show you the last town with service. Nope, you're looking at that right. The last town from Grocery and Grill, there's many of them. And one of them that she wouldn't drive through is Fair Bluff. And the state park is not in Fair Bluff. But you know what is in Fair Bluff? The river. The river is in Fair Bluff. Gallivan's Ferry goes all the way up to Tom's property. And guess what the last town is between Tom's property and Lumber River State Park is? Fair Bluff. And when Mica on the phone says,
what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
At National Park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's the park located at?
In Fair Bluff.
Fair Bluff? You want to know why? Because the last town you can make a phone call from is Fair Bluff. And guess what doesn't go there? The highway. Either direction. The highway, it goes around it in either direction. But guess what doesn't go around it? The river. So the fact that she was in a restricted area on the river, and the only way you wouldn't know that is if you entered in through the river and not on the pathway. My heart is beating
every single day. And the Mica Miller case, J.P. Miller, the pastor, I think killed his wife. So check this out. It was driving me nuts. I saw someone else do this on TikTok, and I was like, I have to see what this is. All right, so when someone speaks in audio, this is where it's coming from, right? I've enhanced from after the 911 caller answering the phone until she speaks. So I've enhanced all this audio. It was down here. So here's about.
Let's see.
Hi, are you able to...
All right, someone is talking right here. Watch.
See?
Right there.
Hi, are you able to trace the
Who's there?
location of my phone?
See?
Like, watch. That's someone talking.
The address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the
What's he saying?
location of my
We're going to
phone?
make another video on this, but then again, I took my ex back 17 times, and here we are. So we're talking about the 9-miller. Definitely heard Fair Bluff, very soft and quick in the background, a little bit before Mica says it. Okay, I talk on country music radio. I was just playing around with this because I like true crime. So here's the 911 call. I don't hear it, but then again, I have talked on the radio for 20 years and I've worn headphones for a very long time. So I'm going to use the headphones for this, and then I will turn it up for you guys here. This is...
Where's the park located at?
In Fair Bluff.
Okay, I'm going to turn it up for you because I don't hear anyone in the background at all. Actually, we'll put it in mono. Let's do that. So, let's put it in mono. We're going to turn it up like this. All right.
Where's the park located at?
In Fair Bluff.
I think I just heard it. Hold on. What? Guys, I heard it. Right there. Right there. Oh, it's too much. I think y'all were right. That's wild.
Circumstances would change. I pray that the fear inside would flee in Jesus' name. I pray.